Hi, it's KatieStories Embracing, and I'm back after 3 weeks. It's been so long. I'm back with Katie Stories number 34. So today I want to talk to you about this awesome book, The Emotional Edge, because it was a really big catalyst for the rest of my journey. I picked that book up in 2016. One of my best friends, Rhonda, had highly advised me to get it. And the author is Andrus Morrisette. And as you know, my story is in her book. If you've been following Katie Stories, I'm one of the 30 co-authors that contributed our stories. Crystal, to tell you a bit about Crystal, is a total goddess. She's from Toronto, Canada. She's an international best author. She was first published by Louise Hayes, and she was a single mom. She went on to develop a health and eating guide that went on to being healthy on the inside. And she wrote this book called The Emotional Edge, and it's so powerful that even Oprah take the emotional age quiz and put it on her website, so you can actually take that quiz. It's been really hard to get back to you after 3 weeks. You know why? Because this book is so awesome that I wanted to do it justice if I'm gonna explain it to you, because one of the reasons I love this book so much is a lot of the components that she teaches and talks about, I already knew, but it's the way that she puts it all together, encompasses it in this package that's so easy to read and digest, and it's interspersed with little quizzes and self-reflection pieces that just tie it all together. And I just found it so helpful. It really shifted my thinking and about myself. And that's kind of her whole point about the book is, she has you first start looking in understanding our childhood script. Because the things that we learn growing up, what do we learn about sex and marriage and God and your looks and your brains and yourself, your social status, guilt, independent thinking, commitment, food, fortune, all of those stories, all of those ways that we get to look at things from the way we were raised and how they affect us can condition sort of this your dominant emotional archetype. And then she presents that as the adult one. And then she compares that, right, with the ego. The ego can be a good thing. It can be positive because it helps you balance. And she'll help you look at the parent archetype, which could be like the super ego, kind of critical and dominant. And then she'll have you look at the child archetype, where she'll get into calling that daughter energy. And that's where more like the id part of the ego, the survival part, and how we take on these survival traits to survive. And there's so much to this book, I'm not sure where to start. So give me a second, because I want to tell you why it took me 3 weeks to come say hi. First, this book, I had to spend like a good week going through it again to relearn some of it. And when school was going on, the last 2 weeks of school, plus some foster care shifts, plus a course I did like 104 hours in 2 weeks. I'm crazy like that. I just figured, I'm getting out for the summer, I'll be fine, I'll recover. But it took me like a week to recover. And just as I was coming up for air, all these crazy, great things started to happen, including the guy that photographed me last summer, and I did like that awesome spread in the long black dress in the garden. He is amazing. And his name's Jerry Lum Photography. I'm finally allowed to thank him. He has his sort of side photography business, and he's just a genius. And he emailed me and said, I'm going to be on the island. Do you want to do a shoot? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yay. And then the next night, I'm going through all my clothes, trying them on. And I thought I was okay with the COVID extra couple of pounds, but I'm going to be honest, I struggled. Everything was snug and didn't feel good and didn't fall right. And I knew that for my own lesson in healing, that there's no way I was going to cancel this shoot, that I would stand proud and I would go buy some clothes that fit me good now and feel good in them. And that's what I did. And my daughter joined me. So we got a couple shots together and a couple apart. And it's great because I'll have some new headshots. And film life is opening back up. We all kind of knew that was on the back burner, but everyone's dying to get back. So there's a couple of things I've put into audition for. And so again, it's just a reminder to me to love myself the way I am now, post-COVID, but also just to make good choices and be ready, because you never know when good stuff's gonna come along. So, okay, we're at 5 minutes already. So what can I tell you about this fabulous book? So it starts to explore, and just explore the things that we learned. Because if we have to look, like when we look into what we learned as kids, right? That really has an effect on our reactions that we have today, our choices that we make today, all stem back. So there's nothing wrong with looking back there to make connections and figure out the parts of yourself that are hidden and that need to come out. And some parts of us that maybe the world doesn't need to see, that aren't our best parts, that we can learn to really love. And then they kind of lie dormant. See, that's why it was really tricky to do this story. And I'm just going to be honest here. It's a hard one because there's so much gold in here. But I'm trying to hone it in a way to serve it to you that makes sense. And despite my lovely notes that I made, it's a little tricky. So she talks about the ego and how it relates to these archetypes. And so your parent archetype and your child archetype and the adult archetype, which is the one we want to be in. And it goes back to Greek and Roman times. It's not new, but then she connects it with the ego to balance. I know I've said that. I'm just making sure I'm being clear. So what I loved about this book is she breaks it down into sub-archetypes. And I'm thinking this is going to be a 2-part story because I think it's going to be way too much to cram in today. But to give you some examples, when a woman is in her mother archetype, we can be in the sub-archetypes of busy bee, keeping so busy that you don't feel your feelings, that you just don't have time to really feel what's coming up. Guilty. I was a chubby bubby at one point, and that was where, Crystal talks about her time going through that phase where having a few extra pounds when your kids are small and you're trying to fit in with other women groups rather than being anyone that people fear or feel funny around. You're just trying to fit in. The tyrant, controlling, the ruler. And I remember I was relating to that when I read her words, because I remember working in the schools. I get along with all the kids and I'm just easygoing and laid back. And then I'd come home and be a grump and be bossy. And I remember just laying on the bed with my husband one day and I was laughing, going, oh yeah, it's so funny. All the kids think I'm just so nice at school. And then I come home and I'm such a bitch. But that's what she's talking about, that we can start to fear these parts of ourselves that we don't want the world to see. And then she gets into projection, right? And I learned that in 1984 in my Psychology 12 class. You spot it, you got it. The things that you despise in other people or make you uncomfortable often are in ourselves, and we don't want to see them. And we have a lot of shame around them too, that if we do have them and we're not proud of them, we don't want other people to know they're there. So you'll actually overcompensate and put out a whole other archetype to offset what we're not proud of in ourselves. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so to understand that, and as she goes into the book, and then you're also looking at your daughter energy, or the child energy of rebellious teenager. Yeah, I know that one. I ran away from home 2 years ago. I wasn't facing things. Learned a lot from that. Attention seeking. Can be so many other forms of that. Narcissistic. That one really created some shame in me. We all have some narcissistic qualities or tendencies. And I know as a whole that I'm not out covertly lying and ruining lives, and that I'm a healthy, happy, loving person. But the thing is that when you're going through this book and you stumble across these sub-archetypes that strike like a chord of shame in you, you feel like tinfoil, as Crystal says in the book, has hit a nerve on your tooth. These are the ones that we have to just pay attention to and sit with. And the more you do that, and you put light on that area, you start to love yourself and create this compassion. And so say you're working with somebody, and I've talked about this before, but it's all over this book. So, maybe you're working with a coworker that you find really micromanaging or controlling. maybe that's not even how you are, but it's really bothered you to where it's, you know, affecting your mood around them. Or and then the trick is to really be with that, and to even go into the bathroom and be alone and say, I am very nitpicky or micromanaging and controlling. Like, so as you start to turn it on yourself and say, I am so narcissistic, or I am so controlling or attention seeking, as you start to turn it back on yourself and you say it over and over, even though you're uncomfortable, you start to feel it. And then as you can make space and peace for that, you make space and peace for yourself, but also for others. It really is a beautiful thing. And sorry, I'm just looking at the rest of my notes, that, you know, the parts of these archetypes, that the more we see them and spot them and love them, that they start to become dormant, and we start to allow ourselves to put out our best sides and the best parts of us. That we're not saying to anybody, you have to just accept me as the way I am. If the way you are is abrasive or not being very nice or getting into other space, then we need to own that shit and be real with it, and start to understand, you know, looking back, that maybe that served us and helped us get through things as a kid, but maybe now it no longer serves us, and it's time to make peace with it and figure out how we can put the best parts of ourselves out there. So I hope that makes sense to you. I'm going to end this now. It's such a beautiful day. I wanted to do this outside, but it's really windy, and I thought it'd be noisy and it would blow my hair all around. So have a great day. I hope you're doing great. Life's opening up here on Vancouver Island. Looking so forward to hitting and traveling to some of the coolest places that aren't overrun with tourists right now. So that's all we can do, is take advantage of staycations and love where we live, because I'm gonna. Okay, I'll talk to you in a week. Sorry for taking so long to get back to you. And thank you so much for reaching out and asking where I've been. That made me just feel wonderful to know that you are inspired and you are listening and watching. So I won't take as long this time, okay? And thank you so much for your thumbs up and your likes and subscribing. I'm up to 224. It's just blows me away. It's taken a while, but I'm getting there. Thanks. Happy day.